Okay, so in the mid-90s, TV was a total battlefield. And this one show was launched with all the hype of a summer blockbuster. I mean, it had everything, the money, the glamour, the perfect pedigree, and it ended up being one of the most spectacular failures of the entire decade. So yeah, let's dive into the glossy, messy, and very short-lived world of Central Park West.
And that's really the big question we're going to unpack today, right? I mean, Darren Star was the undisputed king of 90s primetime soaps. So how in the world did his Midas touch suddenly turn to lead on this one? What went so spectacularly wrong here?
All right, so to really get why it failed, you have to understand the hype, seriously. Back in 1995, Central Park West wasn't just another show on the schedule. No, it was being pushed as this unstoppable cultural event.
And really, the name at the top said it all, Darren Star. In the 90s, that name was basically a guarantee of a hit. This is the guy who gave us Beverly Hills 90210 and Melrose Place, two of the biggest shows of the decade. So when he announced a new project, yeah, everyone was expecting pure gold.
And for the network, CBS? Oh, the stakes could not have been higher. See, CBS had this reputation for being the old people network. They were losing younger viewers like crazy. So they poured a truly massive amount of money into promoting the show. They were banking everything on it to make them seem cool and relevant again. It was basically their Hail Mary pass.
So this was the official line they were selling. It sounds pretty classy, right? You know, a sophisticated urban drama, all about the intense, high-powered lives of New York's elite. But let's be real, that wasn't really what this show is about.
And this was the juicy reality. We're talking catfights, ambition, lingerie, and some seriously questionable dialogue. Look, Darren Star wasn't reinventing the wheel here. He was just taking the whole backstabbing, high-drama formula of Melrose Place and transplanting it from a California apartment building to some swanky Manhattan penthouses.
So the entire show revolved around this trendy, high-stakes magazine called Communique. And it was the perfect playground for all the scheming and drama to unfold.
Of course, every great soap opera needs a great villain, and boy did this show have one. His name was Alan Rush, and he was basically the Darth Vader of publishing. He was this totally manipulative, all-powerful puppet master running this massive media empire. And playing the hero to his villain? That was Marielle Hemingway as Stephanie Wells. She was supposed to be our way into this crazy world. You know, the good-hearted editor from Seattle who moves to the big city and has absolutely no idea she's about to swim with sharks.
And speaking of sharks, the lead shark was definitely Carrie Fairchild, played by the amazing Machen Amick. She was the publisher's stepdaughter and this totally vicious columnist who, right off the bat, decides she's going to seduce Stephanie's husband and just completely destroy her career. I mean, it's pure classic soap opera goodness.
And just to throw some more gasoline on the fire, they brought in Kylie Travis as Rachel Dennis. She was this super glamorous, totally deceitful fashion editor from Australia. And let's be honest, her only job on the show was to ramp up the sex appeal and just cause as much chaos as humanly possible.
You guys, this show was not subtle. Just look at some of these plots. A rival's earring just accidentally left on a nightstand. A faked pregnancy scheme. A hitman who falls for his target. Oh, and a secret affair with a stepfather. It was like Darren Star was literally throwing every soap opera trope he could think of at the wall just to see what would stick.
So you've got all this drama, this supposedly can't-miss formula. Success seemed like a total lock, right? Well, when the show finally premiered, that all hype machine just ground to a screeching halt.
And it is honestly hard to overstate what a shock this was. After all that promotion, all that money, all that star power, people just didn't watch. The show that was supposed to be the savior for CBS was actually sinking it.
Okay, so its first episode got 9.7 million viewers. Now, that might not sound like a complete disaster today, but for a hugely promoted network show in 1995, it was a massive disappointment. To put that in perspective, it landed at number 61 for the week. This was a time when shows like Friends and Seinfeld were pulling in over 20 million viewers. People just weren't connecting with it.
And that is how fast the dream died. We're talking just 2 months after it premiered. The network totally panicked and yanked their big savior right off the schedule. But believe it or not, they weren't ready to give up on it just yet.
So what came next was one of the most drastic and very public retoolings in TV history.
CBS basically decided, okay, if this isn't working, we're just going to tear the whole thing down and build a new show from the leftover parts.
Okay, first change was pretty simple. A rebrand. They dropped the kinda stuffy Central Park West and went with the much edgier abbreviated CPW. The hope was, new name, new show.
But this was the really shocking part. Get this. They fired their lead actress, Marielle Hemingway. They just wrote the main character completely out of the show. And who did they bring in to fill that void? Only an absolute Hollywood legend, the one and only Raquel Welch.
So what was the thinking behind all this chaos? Well, their big plan to grab young Gen X viewers had totally backfired. Turns out that audience was busy watching stuff like Friends or the gritty cop drama NYPD Blue. This kind of over-the-top rich people fantasy just felt old. So CBS did a complete 180 and decided to bring in established stars to try and win back their older, more traditional audience.
So, the big question, did this crazy, expensive gamble actually work? Did bringing in Raquel Welch and changing the name save the day? Well, to put it simply, nope, not at all.
The retooled show came back in the summer of '96, but by then, the audience was just gone. They weren't coming back. After only 21 episodes total, CBS finally pulled the plug for good, ending what has to be one of the most hyped up and troubled shows of that entire decade.
And if you need one stat to sum it all up, here it is. Out of all the shows on TV that season, CPW finished in a dismal 115th place. Yeah, it wasn't just a miss, it was a certified bottom-of-the-barrel bomb. So in the end, what's the lesson here? Central Park West is this fascinating cautionary tale. It just goes to show you that even with the hottest producer, a massive budget, and what looks like a foolproof formula, there is just no such thing as a guaranteed hit. Sometimes the audience simply isn't buying what you're selling.
Hey, if you had fun digging into this legendary TV disaster with us, do us a favor and hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into pop culture mysteries. And we really want to hear from you. What's another can't-miss show or movie that you remember just totally flopping? Let us know all about it in the comments below.